Hello all, and welcome to tonight's beer review, which I am dubbing the Lots of News beer review, because I got a lot of news. On my very old computer, this thing is several years old, and the wireless card is even older. It's running Windows 7, and the wireless card is from like 2008, because it was from my old computer. I didn't buy a new one when I got a new computer. I just had it swapped into the new computer. Well, people in the main house went and upgraded the wireless, wireless router, and for a long technical reason, my old hardware can't detect the new wireless router's network. Obviously, this has made my life somewhat difficult. Two, because I can't afford to go and upgrade my computer, and because I can barely afford to feed myself and pay rent, I had to go and pick up a second job. So I picked up a second job as a dishwasher, and oh my god, that job just kicks my ass straight to the moon. I have never worked so hard and so intensely in my life. But the good news is I get cash tip out from the restaurant servers every evening that I work, and I'm going to be working 2 evenings a week on the 4 nights that I don't work as a security guard. Yeah, my life sucks, I know. Choose your majors wisely, kids. Otherwise, you'll end up like me. Ain't a fun thing to be on this treadmill. But the good thing is, tip out money, which means I can afford to buy beer again. I can't afford to get a new wireless modem to upload it, but eventually I hope to go and figure out how to do that. How to get around this problem. So, well, we'll see. I've been rambling for 2 minutes. Enough about that. On to the beer. This is Ballast Point's Mocha Marlin. Why did I get it? Well, because the only thing that was open, the only place I could buy beer after the restaurant closed was Safeway, and Safeway doesn't have a very large selection of beer. And, I just wanted to go and buy a bomber. I didn't want to go and buy a 6-serve for reasons unknown to me. So, Mocha Marlin. Ballast Point. Great company, kind of on the expensive side, which is why I haven't reviewed it all that much. This is a 6.0 ABV. I believe it's seasonal. I don't know for sure. You guys can correct me. So let's read the label, shall we? Coffee and chocolate come together in this brew. Our Black Marlin Porter is a perfect beer for a mocha mashup. The addition of coffee and cocoa plays perfectly off the roasty, chocolatey flavors of this English porter, while a hint of vanilla smooths it all out. It's full-bodied, but not too sweet. Try it for breakfast or dessert. Beer for breakfast. I haven't broken that rule yet. So, let's get this bad boy started up here, huh? Chocolatey. So, a very dark ruby brown color with a tan to light brown head, fairly thick. Big chocolate smell. It's the main thing. Sorry, I'm really tired after work. Big chocolate smell. Main smell coming off the bouquet here. Like dark chocolate nibs. Underneath that, sort of a roasty coffee. It really smells more like coffee and chocolate rather than chocolate malts and coffee malts, which is what you would sort of expect from a porter. Very sweet. Almost like a liqueur sort of smell to it, like Kahlua. Almost a dark roasted graininess to it. Not much in the way of hops to the nose, but not really expecting much in the way. finish has a lot of very reminiscent of dark chocolate and espresso, almost like you're eating chocolate-covered espresso beans. Some bitterness there. Coffee bitterness mixed with hot bitterness. Very light hot bitterness, so nothing like, you know, nothing very piney, that sort of hoppiness that... I don't like hoppiness with dark beers. But there's just enough bitterness there, you know it's still a beer. Mouthfeel is actually pretty, well, mouthfeel is actually relatively light. I was expecting a little bit of a heavier mouthfeel to this, but still within standards, still within good. Is just rather on the light side, I'm finding. Vanilla shows up front and in the mid palate, kind of underneath the rest of the flavors. The rest of the flavors are kind of on top of them there, but you get that vanilla creaminess. Just a ghost of sweetness. It's actually not that sweet. That's why I'm kind of surprised they're saying, you know, for dessert. It's actually, I'd say it's a little bit on the dry side. So while there's sweetness there, but what I'm saying by that is not that sweet is, when a beer is suggested as a dessert for me, I usually think, okay, I'm going to pair it with something. This is to the point where if you would pair it with, like, say, a piece of chocolate cake or anything other than, you know, bittersweet dark chocolate, it would probably come off as a little bit, it would come off as even drier than it should be. It's perfect right now, but I wouldn't be pairing it with something too sweet. Mids just had this really nice interplay of, you know, bitter espresso bitterness, and, you know, cocoa notes. It really is like a mocha. You're getting both coffee and chocolate notes in there. I would say that it lies a little bit in the shade more of coffee notes than chocolate notes, but definitely within the bouquet, the chocolate notes went out. Or maybe not. As it warms up, it's starting to get a little bit more of coffee notes to the bouquet as well, even though the chocolate is still there. Like I said, both chocolate and coffee well represented. As it warms up, definitely getting almost a dimensionality to that coffee. It's a brighter coffee. It's you know, got more of those kind of berry-like notes that they sometimes say. If you're like me, and if you have extra money, which means I don't actually have it happen too much, I like to go to Starbucks and get myself, you know, those estate coffees, and it's really fun to kind of compare the taste to them. So I would definitely say that the coffee in this comes across as brighter. It doesn't come across as earthy. There's not much earthiness to this. Yes, there's bitterness. Yes, there's bitterness, but there's also a lightness there. There's a lightness to it. A lightness and a brightness to it. Absolutely wonderful smell, by the way. Now, I looked up some of the reviews, and some people said that this had a sort of a boozy taste to it. I'm not getting that at all. It's a little bit, like I said, I'm getting a little bit on the light side, and perfectly clean tasting. Not a hint of booziness to this, at least on my palate. Your mileage may vary, as always. It really has a wonderful aroma. You just want to go and inhale as you're taking a sip to get that full sensory pleasure there. Really lovely beer. Nothing mind-blowing, but just nice. You know, a nice sensory pleasure. Definitely what it says on the label there, a mocha. Even the vanilla's there, like I said, that creaminess that's kind of on your tongue there, that's underneath all the more heavier chocolate and coffee notes. As it warms up, yeah, definitely bright coffee notes that I would label as berry-like, kind of grassy and herbal is sort of related to coffee flavors. All in all, a pretty excellent beer, at least from my point of view. Some people might say it might be lacking a bit in porter basics, but if you're going to be getting a beer that's got mocha on the label, you should be kind of expecting it to have a sort of outre flavor profile to it that kind of moves away from basic malts and hops flavorings. Obviously, I think stouts and porters are great for that sort of experimenting. Pilsners, not so much. I don't like to push it too far. None of this peanut butter kind of crap, and none of this like, well, I don't know. Maybe I actually might try a bacon flavored beer. I do love my bacon. But we're at the 12-minute mark, and that's because I went and rambled on at the beginning. I have to say, as it warms up, it's getting more and more flavor dimensionality to it. More and more smell dimensionality to it. So, Mocha Marlin. Probably wouldn't have it as a dessert beer, as they say on the label, but as a standalone beer, it is a pretty excellent thing. If you're looking for something that really shows how to, you know, use adjuncts to add dimension to the beer, you know, as opposed to, let me rephrase that, a wise use of adjuncts, as you know, and there's nothing heavy hitting you heavy over the head, just a perfect balance there. Still enough that you also know that it's beer. Well, that's your beer review for tonight, folks. We'll see when the next one is, or when I'll be able to upload this. Might be sometime, hopefully not too long. This is an important part of my life, so I'm going to try to work towards rectifying the problems so I can get these back up again, because I like doing beer reviews. It's one of the few things that I'm regularly able to do, even though they're not the best beer reviews, or even, you know, median beer reviews. They're pretty subpar beer reviews, but I love doing them anyway. That's a beer review for tonight, folks. Cheers.